I've been talking to Sergio Brusin. He is an expert in response and emergency operations at the European Centre for Disease Prevention Control. And I asked him if he thought the measures that Italy had put in place were proportionate.
If you put the things into context and see what has happened in China with their drastic measures, it is something that is not unreasonable.
And therefore, I want to ask you how close or otherwise, you think the UK is to being in the same situation as Italy?
Well, the UK is in the situation Italy was a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. But the UK has an advantage because the UK saw what has happened in South Korea and Italy. So there is still time to do something more and quicker than in Italy.
So you think the government here should move to the social distancing measures, the banning of large public gatherings and so on?
That would be a very reasonable thing to do.
And if it doesn't?
And if it doesn't, you'll get in the UK the same situation that there is in Italy now.
Seriously, thousands and thousands of positive cases, you believe, if we don't do that here?
Yeah, I'm sure that now the figure is around 200, if I'm not mistaken. Italy went from 200 to 1,000 in 10 days, and that's how this disease is working. So therefore, I wouldn't expect, without any measures, the situation to be very different.
How long does the government have here to implement those measures, to stop it spreading in the way we have seen it doing in Italy?
Not a very long time. I would say a few days, really. We are in an exponential curve. So the cases are doubling very quickly. So you don't really have a lot of time. Now you may see, hundreds, but very soon, if you don't do anything, the thousands will come extremely quickly. So I would say days.
The government's got an emergency meeting today. Perhaps today would be the day to bring in those social distancing measures, in your view?
Well, that would be welcome. I think that would be a very good idea.
And what specifically are you thinking the British government should be implementing here to stop us becoming the next Italy?
Well, we published our risk assessment last week where we have different scenarios. And the scenario UK is in is either the scenario 2 or 3, where the cases are still rising exponentially, but the community transmission is not completely recognized. So I think that now the UK is in the situation we described in the scenario 3 of our risk assessment, with very soon the community transmission being recognized. It looks like also that the UK is exporting some cases. So this is the right time to act.
OK. And by act, are you saying people should work from home, football matches should be played behind closed doors? Or are you talking about locking down whole towns and cities?
Locking down whole town and cities is not something that is easily feasible in the Western world. But the social distancing, the care of not having a big meetings of people, the possibility of working from home when possible, the diminishing the chances of contacts between people. Washing hands, don't shake hands, all this distance people from people, and makes the transmission less easy. So that is what can happen. Locking down towns has happened in China. I don't think it's very feasible in places like the UK or Italy, for that matters. Even in Italy, the quarantine that is imposed let people move to go to the shops, people move to go to work when absolutely necessary. So it's not a Chinese lockdown. It is a lowering of the chances of meeting other people.
Do you think the UK has been slow in terms of implementing measures compared to other European nations?
I don't really think so. It is a very difficult situation to read because the increase from a handful of cases to hundreds and thousands, it's very quick. I really don't think it was possible for the governments to react quicker. It would have been very difficult to explain to the population drastic measures without having at least some cases that can be shown on the map, really.
After Brexit, as you know, Britain is due to leave the early warning and response system, which has helped coordinate the response to the virus and certainly played a very vital role during the bird flu outbreak. What do you think of that?
It's a pity. The EWRS worked particularly well in coordinating and exchanging information inside Europe. Recently, Switzerland asked to get into the system, and of course the request was granted. So losing the possibility to exchange information with the UK on the EWRS would be for us quite a loss.
I wonder finally if you think the numbers of dead in Italy from coronavirus are what the UK can expect?
Without measures, yes. I think that the percentage of people dying from coronavirus wouldn't change that much between Italy and the UK.
Thank you very much for your time.